What I've decided to do is give a little sample, a little taste of all the different forms of puppets, and used a lot of my own puppets from my shows and puppets that I've collected, but then also I've been lent a lot of puppets from colleagues, friends from all over the world. So it's a mixture of different types of puppets. Some of them really silly, some very beautiful, some very serious ones. So trying to show the range, that was my main aim, and also the techniques and methods and materials of making. Some are for children, some are for adults, some of them are for entertainment, but some are actually made to perform for the gods with no audience of human present. Puppetry has got a very, very long history, and certainly the records go back very clearly about 4,000 years, written histories of puppet performances in a lot of cultures. Making a puppet usually starts, for me, from the story. So I want to do the story of the Pied Piper, what characters are needed, and then deciding what the best technique is. Some people might just start with a particular material that they're interested in and don't have a story in mind. So we've got some examples of that in the exhibition, where someone has taken a pile of what looks like junk, bits of metal, rusty old bicycle, and went, oh, this could become, and they let their imagination take over, and they build a puppet and then go, what do I do with it? So it can go from, well, many different directions. Traditionally, in particularly East of Asia, you'd often be telling stories of a religious nature, so you know who the characters are, you know how they move, you know what they need to look like, and then it's how do you make that, and how do you then move those puppets for a performance. A whole puppet show will vary from company to company. My work is usually a collaborative one, so I'll usually bring in other makers, so I'll design, I'll make some of the puppets, but some I'll get other people with their own particular skills, welders, sewers, painters, to do their element. I'll then work, again, this is just a personal way of working, I'll work with a storyteller, a script writer, I'll then work with a musician. And so we then put all these different elements together, trial it out, a lot of rehearsal, and then performance. Other shows, like some of the work on display, is made spontaneously in front of the audience. So there's someone who works in clay, and they say, what shall we make? And the audience says, a dog. So they make a dog. And then they said, what else shall we make? We'll make a superhero. And those characters are then put spontaneously into a performance with live music. So that's all about on-the-spot creation, imagination. Most of the puppets on display cannot be touched or must not be touched by the public. A lot of them are delicate and very old, whereas some of them on this table have been put here for people to have a try. So some of them can be worked by pulling a string. Others, like this little shadow one, has got a tiny little shadow stage with very simple toy puppets made out of cardboard on a stick. We do also have bigger shadow puppets on a large screen, and those are some very old. One of the oldest ones, over 200 years old, is a very large Indian shadow puppet. This exhibition should have happened May of last year, so lockdown has had the impact of me having more time to actually plan. Initially, I thought I'd put about 50 puppets on, then it crept up to 60, and currently it's up at 117 puppets. So that's had one impact on it. The other big one, obviously, is that people at the moment can't come and see it, but we sort of hope soon, when we can, to be able to open it to the public. It has meant a few of the very valuable, very rare puppets have not been put on display yet. They'll only come in a few days before we open to the public.